911 Calls Podcast with the operator.
Somebody called because they were
What happened?
My mom said, Sam, this was last night at dinner. Sam.
Uh-oh. Are we in trouble?
The other day I was listening to the 911 podcast, and when you started it, you were like, oh, hello, Jessica. And she was like, oh, hello, operator. And I was like, we always say that. And she's like, no, you guys said it like, and I was like, what, like sultry? Like that's what you just sound like, sultry? And she's like, yes. And I was like, I don't know.
I'm sorry, Mom.
I said, you try saying, oh, hello to somebody 170 times. Especially after you've been talking for 2 hours already. You try to make it sound natural. So, oh, let me try. Hold on one second. Oh, hey. Oh, is that you? Oh, hey, Jessica. Hello, Jess. Well, hello.
Hey.
It doesn't work. So we'll just start with our normal. Hello, Jess.
Hey.
Now you say hello, operator.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Op.
Hey. If you wanted to put a hit out on someone, can you think in your head, you don't have to say their name. That would probably be bad. Especially if it's somebody that's like in your network, like on your list of like, you know, who you'd use. Don't say their name. But do you know of anyone who would be willing to do it for you if you reached out to, do you have a name in your head where you're like, yeah, I could call so-and-so and I could put a hit out on somebody and they do it for me?
A hit?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What's funny is I was astonished when we were all talking one day, I think all four of us were on here. Kent was on here too. And I asked a question which I thought was going to out a couple of you, maybe one of you. And I asked, do you have a drug dealer? And all of you are like, oh yeah, obviously.
Well, I mean, there's always somebody in your circle that can do something, right? Depending on what you're asking for.
Yeah, you read it. You answered that question pretty quick about the hitman. That's impressive. It's impressive.
I mean, I guess it depends on who I'm asking to hit. Like, I'm looking to kill my husband, I'm going to call Becky. We'll figure it out.
You and Becky, you get creative. Yeah, you're probably right. You probably have to have more than one hitman on your list. Like if you were like, hey, my 8-year-old has got to go.
No, what?
Then, you can't use the same person. You can't call Becky about your 8-year-old. Maybe your grandma, like you could call Becky about, hey, my grandma, we've been waiting. She won't kick the bucket. We got this life insurance policy on her, though. We really need her to go. And Becky's like, okay, here's what I would do.
No, she would call me. I might be on the list for people.
Okay, here's another question. And Chase, you can chime in here too if you have any information. In all of your time in true crime, listening to true crime podcasts and everything, is there anything that you have on a short list of knowledge about committing a crime now that you've been educated on that you didn't know before you started like immersing yourself in true crime? I'll give you an example. I know now that if I have to bury a body, that obviously you bury it as deep as you can, but you always have cadaver dogs to worry about. Those things are like body radar. And it really doesn't matter how deep you bury the body. Cadaver dog can find it. But what you do in order to make it so a cadaver dog can't find the body is you dig the hole, you put the body in, and then you cover them with a little bit of dirt, but then you cover that with rat poison. And the rat poison smell completely cloaks the decay from the body below. And so you could bury bodies under rose bushes and get away with it because cadaver dogs would be like, nothing to see here because of the rat poison. And I learned that by listening to true crime podcasts. Is there anything top of list for you that you're like, here's a do or here's a don't based on what you know?
Don't bury a body. That's for sure.
Good point.
If I was going to hide a body, I wouldn't bury it.
How would you get rid of a body? What would you do?
Well, the ocean's really big.
Yeah.
There are things that do decompose an entire human.
Yes. Like quicklime.
Yeah. I mean,
I think the thing where people get messed up or they trip up is they decide to make the shopping trip in the same time period that the body got killed.
I was going to say mine would be more diabolical probably. It would probably make it seem like it was an accident or suicide. If you're really going deep here. I just got done reading a really good book and I'm like, have all these ideas now.
Now, do you?
They hunted serial killers, so.
Ooh, fun. Yeah, you make a good point. There's a debate to be made that do you stand a better chance of being innocent if the body sticks around in some kind of repose that looks natural, as long as you can avoid any evidence being tied back to you? Or do you need to disappear the body better than anybody? Like, do you need to be an Olympic level body disappearer, you know?
Right. Because immediately when you say bury about it, like I think about all the places that they've turned into apartments.
Yeah.
And it's like they're going to do excavation in all these places.
Yeah, you may have 20 years before they're putting up a parking lot. Running out of bury bodies.
Right. And don't do it in a national park because if you do get caught, it's a federal crime instead.
Why? I don't know this.
Well, if you're found in like a national park, it opens up the certain investigative, like the FBI gets involved immediately.
Oh, you just enlisted the federal government into your crime. I see.
Into your case and your crime.
Yeah. Good point.
Mm-hmm.
I think things are played out on that whole did you know that we all seem to know about that one spot in Yellowstone where you could commit any crime and get away with it. I think that's crap. If I were a cop, I would just sit in that spot and wait for people to dumb enough to try to come commit a crime in that area.
Right. Even with like lakes and stuff, they're being drained or drying up. So I feel like the ocean's your best bet.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. In the back door, we have a chat going on. It's on fire right now. But it's healthy. It's not on fire. It's healthy. The chat's healthy. But Stacy from Spacey asks, what was the book, Jess? What was the name of the book?
Well, it's kind of smut, so.
Oh.
Sorry, Mom. It's called just Butcher and Blackbird.
Butcher and Blackbird. Okay.
Butcher and Blackbird.
Okay. And then Stacy from Spacey also said, and I agree with this, she says the ironic part of this discussion is we probably have never heard of the best methods because those people never got caught. And that's true. That's true. There might be some people out there that really dialed it in and they're like, no, you can keep doing your burying body rat thing. That's fine. Do the rat poison all you want, but I know how to do it.
I do think it's harder to be a serial killer now, though.
Now, definitely. Yeah. I mean, it's still pretty astonishing when somebody comes out and they've pulled it off.
I think serial killers are really living among us, like doctors and
yes,
people in high power. It's not the everyday Ted Bundys anymore.
Right.
It's the people that are probably have power of some sort.
I'd agree with that. They're using their power as a mechanism to pick people that they believe are disposable.
Right. Like the Kennedys or something like that.
Or Hillary.
The poor Kennedy. They were joking about that. I was listening to a podcast. This is not the uncut. What am I talking about? Go ahead. Cut that out.
No, you brought it up. So what were they talking about, the Kennedys?
No, it's just like, how could you ever trust the government when your whole family's been killed by them?
Exactly. Well, good point.
Like JFK Jr. is a big proponent about like, what is the government giving us in these vaccines, and questioning a lot of stuff. And that's like kind of his whole shtick is we need to question what they're doing. And Theo Von made a joke. He's like, well, wouldn't you question everything the government's done if your whole family was just picked off by them?
Yeah. RFK he's interesting in that regard because he's still around talking about it. And I would have probably been like, yeah, no, my family has a tendency to open their mouth and then somebody disappears them. Or, I don't know, that whole family's kind of got a mixed past. I mean, they're either getting disappeared or they're disappearing people that are too icky for their...
The reason I guess that came to mind is because like a lot of them were either like a boating accident or struck by lightning or something odd. And it's like, well, that's how you get rid of a body in the right way. You do it in a oops accident way, but nobody gets blamed type of thing.
Good point. And the numbers are what are kind of astonishing to me. Like if I had one oops boating accident in my direct family, that would be something, I'd be like, wow, yeah, don't forget, Billy's girlfriend.
But you have a plane crash and a skiing accident.
But when there's 12
shark or something.
Yeah.
It's like, somebody knows how to get rid of a body. Somebody's doing it.
You heard, I mean, I think last year there was this kind of, it hit the news for a little while about, I believe it was Obama's chef ended up dying in a really weird way, like in a boating accident or drowning or something.
Yeah.
And in my head, I was like, okay, that's an interesting one because think of somebody who is literally a fly on the wall, but is probably privy to a lot of conversation that happens when the most private conversations would be happening. Yep. Like I was telling my wife last night, I'm like, can you imagine how much dirt we'd have on people if you just sold like a Ring doorbell system, but instead of it being your doorbell, there's a microphone at 20 feet and 40 feet outside of your house. Think about the conversations you would get. You'd be like, okay, Jess, good to see you. Bye. Thanks for having us over. Bye. The door closes. Ring doorbell. Nobody's going to talk that. But as they get to their car, somebody's going to be like, man, Jess is a bitch. If you got a mic out there, oh my gosh, that's where
we talked about in the Ed Cut, but leaving the funeral today, as soon as we walked to the doors, both my parents were like, what was that? Did they play that song? Oh my gosh. And I'm like, guys, we're 5 feet from the door. Can we walk farther away?
That's what I'm talking about. The 40-foot cam is what I'd call it, or the mic. All you need is a mic. That's where the stories are. If you want to know who your friends are, find out what they're saying.
Or in the car afterwards.
Yeah.
My whole childhood was that. As soon as we left any event, they're like, "Can you believe Stacy? Oh my God!" My parents are great people. They're not.
I'm telling you though, like I would be in so much trouble too because I'm always right. You know this, right? And I'll leave somewhere like, bye, thanks for having us. Okay. And I can't make it to the car before I'm like, did they really think that there aren't aliens? What's wrong with them? Like I'm always talking. Oh, I'd be in so much trouble. Okay. One more question. If you had to think about that person that would put a hit out, and we'll rule out kids. So let's not say it's a hit on a kid because that's just, nobody wants to think about that. So why'd you bring it up? But if you had to go for that, to have that person help with a hit, do they charge a lot?
No, it wouldn't be
Wouldn't even be a transaction?
the person I would probably call wouldn't, it would be like a help thing.
It'd be loyalty. It'd be a
loyalty, yeah. I'm not in the market of picking people off.
Well,
that's expensive.
I don't know. Sometimes when people hit me up for like large amounts of cash out of nowhere, I'm like, oh, you're who are you having killed? It happens. You never know. So I stay prepared. Well, fortunately, this call doesn't have to deal with that. So
of course not. Really? We're 15 minutes in.
Yeah, our audience is they've just asked me to do more further background checks and character statements regarding you. And so I'm trying to weave in some questions here and there to probe the depths of your criminal limits. This is what they want to know. They're like, we feel like she, would, off somebody in an alleyway, or they're like, oh no, she won't let the story go. She wants to get back on topic. Oh, she seems like a murderer. Let's talk. Find out more about her. So, so far, I would say that you're faring well and should be able to stay out of prison. So good job, Jess.
Yeah, no hits here.
Okay. At least that you're willing to talk about on the podcast. So I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
We're all on the same page. Chase kept holding his finger up like he had a lot of opinions on calling out hits, but I don't think we want to bring him on because he looks like a hitman.
He does.
He's the most unassuming hitman. Everybody's like, he's just so lovable. I love that guy so much. But little do we know, he's really good with that wire where you strangle somebody to death. He's really good with it.
Yeah, I don't feel unsafe in a public situation if the three of you are around.
Yeah.
You're all very large, bearded men.
We're like a wall of, we may not move fast, but once we get you, you're never getting back up. Oh, man. All right. Well, how about I get right into this? I'll just get right into this.
Finally. Okay, good.
I don't know. 16 minutes in so far. That's a record. That's pretty good. All right. So just off the sunset-soaked streets of Altamonte Springs, Florida, Shamaya Lynn was busy defying the odds stacked against her as a teenage mother. What was her dream? Her dream, Jess, since you asked, was to carve a beautiful life for her two young boys, who were just the center of her universe. She was accompanied in all this effort for a good life for her family by her boyfriend and father of her two kids, Viandre Avery. It's kind of unclear whether they lived together full time, but is clear that they were all working kind of toward this goal to stay together and thrive. So Shamaya's aunt describes her as bubbly, smart, and hopeful. And fun fact to know and share, I don't know what's wrong with my spell correct, but the whole time I was writing this script, the spell checker kept wanting to change bubbly to tubby. And I don't know why. And I was like, no, that changes the whole meaning of what the aunt said about Shamaya. I'm not changing it to tubby. Why would I do that? It was so weird. I just was laughing about it the whole time I'm writing the script. Like, it was just flashing too. You know, the little red underline. It's like, I'm not going away until you change it to tubby. I'm like, you're mean. I'm not ever talking to you again, spell check.
Okay.
But her aunt called her bubbly, smart, and hopeful. And she said she was always determined not to be stigmatized as a teenage mother. And I don't know if you know any teen moms, Jess or Chase. It's a rough hill they have to climb. You know, this choice sometimes factors in the baby daddy, sometimes it doesn't. Oftentimes the birth grandmother is a big factor. You know, there's always the dynamic of the parents of the birth of the teen mom. You know, there's always something. They've got a lot on their plate, not to mention rearing the children. So she was conscious of all the challenges and societal perceptions of young parenthood. And she was working really hard to provide for her family and to create a stable home environment. So this little family coalesced in a 2-bedroom apartment in Altamonte Springs, Florida. This shared living space buzzed with work from home meetings and cooperation in managing household responsibilities and childcare. It was a humble abode, just a little two-bedroom with 2 active young parents and the overtures of the laughter children dotting the rooms and the hallways. I'm trying to be poetic and picturesque, but I might have overdone it there. Thanks, ChatGPT. Things were humming right along for him, though. Laughter of their children, and things were humming right along for them. Laughter of her children. And things were humming right along for them. Laughter of her children. Things are humming right along.
Uh-huh.
The Andre Avery was her high school sweetheart. He was the father of Shemaya's children. They had 2 young children together, ages 1 and 2. They shared a past that was imbued with the rosy hues of high school romance, which evolved into whatever happens after high school if you've got kids together, which is usually work-life balance. So their journey, beginning in the hallways of school, led them down a path of shared parenthood. Now, here's the lead up. It's August 11th, 2021. In the year 2021, a day that dawned like any other in the Lynn Avery household. Shemaya, amidst the whirlwind of her new job that she had just landed, was a picture of dedication on a Zoom call with her colleagues. In the background, as is very common nowadays because we all work from home. You know, there's newscasters.
2021, when COVID was going on, a lot of people work from home. And if you were even, people do job interviews over Zoom these days, I feel like.
Oh, yeah. Think of all the things that we used to do in brick and mortar, had to have butts in seats, where now we're like, oh, we really don't need it.
Yeah, but now they want us all to come back. So.
Right. They're not, and we're not. You know, I'll tell them right now, we're not coming back. I represent everybody in saying that. But on this Zoom call, she was kind of excited about being on it. It was a new job for her, so she was organized and she was ready to go. But as is the case, as we all saw through COVID and even today, there's newscasters who will be working from home and they'll be reporting on something and a kid will run through the room or a cat jumps on the desk. And it's just, we all accept it. It's not unprofessional. It's just life. And that's the way it goes. And that's what was happening in this case on that day. In the background, there was the innocence of childhood play, and her toddler, who was a bundle of energy, jumping on the bed in carefree abandon. Meanwhile, Avery was away attending to his own routine, unaware of the impending storm. Now, the Zoom call is a window into Shemaya's world, turned into a front row seat to a harrowing incident. A loud kaboom shattered the normalcy, and, well, let's just get into the call. There's 2, and we're going to start with a call from the other people that were on the Zoom call and what they saw in this 911 call that they're making. Case in point, we were talking on the Uncut about what happens if one of us kicks over in our little dumb studios here. We're in soundproof booths. Our wives or spouses, our significant others don't know, and none of us have our significant others' phone numbers. So we're just going to watch the person in front of us pass away. It's a worry. And so all the people on the Zoom call, they didn't know what else to do. So they called 911 to try to help. So here's the first. You ready for this? Are you ready?
No. Mm-mm.
You're not. This is not. You can't be ready for this.
It's like one of my nightmares. Okay.
Zoom calls. Zoom calls are one of your nightmares?
Well, those in general, but if, like, you guys live in a different state, so I'd have to look up your local police department.
Right. And then they'd be like, what's the location? And you'd be like, all I've got is the operator's P.O. box.
Nobody's ever going to check it. So yeah, I'm kind of scared for what's going to happen.
Well, get ready because it's going to get more uncomfortable. So
Go ahead.
Okay, here we go.
Fell back, and her nose was bleeding. Her baby, I don't know if something hit. She hit the desk. I don't know. But all we heard a loud kaboom, and then she leaned back, and we just saw blood from her face. She's back there crying. She's not answering or anything. We're calling her name. She's not talking or responding. She has the camera on, and her baby's crying on the back. We heard a loud kaboom, and then she leaned back, and we just saw blood from her face. We're all on Zoom, and it just happened on Zoom.
So as you can tell, they're calling 911, and I mean, what is there to say? I mean, they're not in a meeting together. This person isn't laying on the meeting room floor. It's through a little camera lens. They're watching all this happen, and they're they can't even put it together. They're trying to figure out what happened. What they saw, what they heard was a kaboom, she says. And then they see her fall backward in the chair, and then they just see blood all over her face. And they're like, what is happening? It was as mysterious as trying to juxtapose when is a good time to put ads into an episode.
You're so fucking insensitive. This is so bad.
And there is no good time, but also great times. The sponsors are amazing, though, and they deserve their time. So let's give it to them now. Here's some ads. Got to pay the bills. Okay, we're back. And that was riveting. So, yeah, that was call number 1. So we can move on to call number 2 now to give a little more context into it. Now, this call...
Okay, you're going to tell us what happened, because I think I know what happened, but okay.
Yeah, so let's let Viandre explain in his 911 call, and then I'll kind of circle back. I'll circle the wagons on the context, so we'll give a little more information. But let's let Viandre and his 911 call play out. Here we go.
911, do you need police, fire, medical?
I need medical.
What's the address? Not one moment for medical.
Hurry, hurry.
One moment. I'm getting medical on the line for you.
Hurry, hurry, hurry.
911. You can disconnect. I'm trying to get to medical. Yes.
911.
One moment, caller.
Hurry, hurry.
One moment.
Hurry, I believe. Hello.
Fire rescue. 7 with the medical in Altamont. Okay, and
Yes, I literally just got home and I come in the room. My girlfriend, she was working on the computer and she just laid back. There's blood everywhere.
Okay. Now, I did have somebody already call. We do have paramedics already on the way. Somebody called because they were on a Zoom meeting with her. I know, honey. I know. And how old is your girlfriend?
She's 21 years old. She just
21?
She just left Altamont Hospital 2 days ago because there was something wrong with her stomach. She just left Altamont Hospital because there was something wrong with her
right
stomach.
now, though, is she awake?
No, she's not awake. And
is she breathing?
Please let me know what's going on.
Okay, paramedics are already on their way. Is she breathing?
No, I do not feel her heart pumping.
No, is she breathing? Do you see her chest rising and falling?
No, I do not.
Okay, we're going to do CPR. Okay, I'm going to tell you how to do that, okay?
Okay, hurry, please, please.
Is there a defibrillator available?
Can you say it one more time?
Is there a defibrillator available?
I don't know what that is, no.
Okay, that's fine. What you're going to do is lay her flat on her back on the floor, nothing underneath her head. Tell me when that's done.
On the floor? On her back on the floor?
Yes, flat on her back on the floor, nothing underneath her head.
Oh my God, there's blood everywhere.
I'm sorry, honey, but we're going to go ahead and do CPR on her. Just let me know when she's flat on her back on the floor.
Okay, sure.
All right, you're going to place the heel of your hand on her breastbone. Put your other hand on top of that hand. You're going to pump her. You're going to take the heel of your hand. You're going to place it on her breastbone, right between the nipples. Put your other hand on top of that hand. Let me know when you've done that. Okay. You're gonna pump her chest hard and fast, at least twice per second and 2 inches deep. You're gonna let her chest come all the way up between the pumps. We're gonna do this until help can take over. I want you to count out loud with me. Okay, we're gonna 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep going with 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep that rhythm up like that. Keep counting out loud. 1, 2, 3, 4, so I can make sure you're going fast enough.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. I think that's help. I'm gonna run open the door.
Okay.
Come on. Come on, man. Hurry, please. I don't know what happened. I just walked in the house. I just came through the door. And then I walked over here and I seen this. Okay. Can you take I got him. Hey, ma'am. Hey, go out to the other room for me, all right? Can you tell me did someone call already? Can you tell me what? Yeah, just walk out real quick, okay? Can you tell me what happened? So,
Hi, I'm here.
oh my God, bro, what the happened?
Okay. It's not every day when you listen to a 911 call and you get the distinct notion that this person has truly no idea what's happened to the person that's in trouble, you know.
Right.
But there's a sense of genuineness, I believe, in the way that Viandre sounds on this call that is indistinguishable. He doesn't. I tried to use this time listening to it, I tried to use my "is he guilty" filter, and it just never went off, you know.
No, he was confused, very, very confused.
Yeah.
I mean, and I get that she has to go through the steps of trying to revive, because that's obviously
Right.
You want to try everything you can, but
Yes.
all I kept thinking about is, oh no, it's going to look more graphic than it did to start with. Is all I could think about.
Yes.
And that poor guy. I just immediately put myself in the shoes of that person that's making the phone call and he's doing that resuscitation.
Yeah.
He was trying his hardest, you know.
And he's got to get her out of the chair too, because she's been
Yeah.
propped up in the chair. Also,
Like, please just tell me what's wrong. Yeah, that's. How old did they say she was? Did he say 16?
she was 21 in this regard.
Okay.
So what an interesting thing, and I don't know. I mean, this is just a lens into how journalism works, I guess. But so she had a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old. She wasn't a teen mom like you would think a teen mom of being, but she was 19 when she had her first kid, and in this day and age, I couldn't find you a 19-year-old girl that's like, hey, you want to have 2 kids cranked out before you're 21?
Right.
They'd be like, no, I'm an influencer. I don't have time for that. Here's the backstory. Here's what had happened. Viandre had a gun collection, and I'm going to preface it by saying that there's nothing anywhere that states that his gun collection was illicit or illegal or anything of that nature.
Okay.
But he had a handful of guns, and in one particular, he had a handgun that he had placed in a Paw Patrol backpack.
Oh my God.
And it was left in the room where Shamaya was having her Zoom call. Her 2-year-old, seeing the fun little backpack, decided to dig in. They discovered the gun, and the trigger was accidentally pulled, and tragically the gun was aimed at Shamaya's head when it went off. So Shamaya fell backward. Her screen was, as the Zoom call witnesses stated, painted in red. Panic ensued amongst her colleagues, and a flurry of 911 calls echoed their shock as we heard. And in those heart-stopping minutes, Avery returned home only to find a scene that would haunt him for life. Now, he was away at the chiropractor when this incident had happened, and I don't know the good word. I think of those kids, though, and he wasn't gone long. He was back quickly, or showed up around the same time. So I think that's a small blessing for the kids.
Why would any gun owner put a gun in a Paw Patrol backpack?
So I have my thoughts on this.
I initially assumed that I thought that it would be like a mishandling of a gun,
Yeah.
the child, but I figured maybe it was in a nightstand or on a table or something.
Right.
But in a Paw Patrol backpack?
So here's my thought. And it doesn't really line up. It's just a random, the only thing I can kind of piece together is I have guns. And I was thinking to myself, okay, in what instance would I put one of my guns into a children's backpack? The only thing I can think of is I would do it strategically because it'd be the last place somebody would look.
Well, you're not in what kind of neighborhood is this they're living in? Are they having regular break-ins?
Yeah. Well, okay. You make a good point. And I will say, as a gun owner, once you start,
first rule of thumb as a gun owner is the
securing
safety of
your
it
guns.
and securing it.
Yeah.
I'm not an advocate for putting a lock on all of them. Sorry, that might offend people, but there is any gun that I would ever own or anyone ever should own should never be anywhere that a child could access it.
So I have guns. And so, but I'm also, I would like to say, a responsible gun owner. And so the dilemma that you have as a gun owner is if you have guns, for me, it's either hunting. I've got a couple hunting rifles, and the rest of my guns would be for self-protection or home protection or whatever. I might concealed carry. I might have guns at home for protection. The dilemma is, and this is where non-gun owners are like, why would the guns be anywhere except for in a safe? Well, because if someone intrudes into your home and you're like, hurry, get the guns, beep, boop, boop, beep, boop, boop, or twist, 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 twist. So the dilemma as a gun owner is, okay, how do I satisfy both problems of making sure that my guns are secure, but also accessible, which to a non-gun owner would be like, those two don't just survive in the same sentence, but they can.
They do.
There's a difference between having a trigger lock on a gun, which is intended don't use this. This isn't a quick access gun. This is what we call a safe queen, one that goes in a safe and probably never comes out, except for to show your friends or to go shooting on the range sometime. And a functional use gun, which is, okay, so how do I make a gun readily accessible but still secure? And there are a lot of ways. For example, if I'm in my car.
Well, we live in 2024, first of all.
Yeah, there's a ton of ways to do it. Like you can have quick access, like thumbprint, where only mine and my wife's thumbprint opens the little hidden gun box in XYZ room or whatever. So there are ways to do it so you don't have to weld the trigger shut, there are ways. Now, in this regard, there are a couple problems. One problem, and you might have seen this if you've ever watched Cops, is when they pull a gun off of somebody, they always go, can you clear the gun?
Right.
And what that means is one of the police officers has to take the gun and do two things. First, they have to remove the magazine from the gun. And then they look at the magazine and they see whether or not there's bullets in it. And if there are rounds in it, then they put that to the side. And then they rack the slide on the gun. And if it ejects a round, that means that the gun was hot. It was ready to fire. And that is condition one, which is what they call condition one, which is that gun, all you do is pull the trigger. You may have a safety on the gun, but in some cases, the gun itself has built-in safeties. So, but the reason they do that is because if you don't pop the magazine out first and you rack the slide, racking the slide charges a round into the chamber. So you don't know if you just charged a round from the magazine or if there was already one in there. And so to be safe, they pull the magazine and then they clear the chamber and then they can tell you whether or not. So in this case, this gun that was in the Paw Patrol backpack was not only did it have active rounds in the magazine, but it had one in the chamber.
And again, it goes back to responsible gun ownership.
Yes.
I feel like people get their feathers ruffled, or it's a controversial conversation about gun ownership and should we have them or should we not, and yada yada. It all comes down to you are taking possession of this. You're responsible for it, just like a car.
Yep.
You drive a deadly weapon every single day.
Yep.
You don't get in it and say, "Is this going to misfire and run off the road?" No, you're a responsible car owner, and
you maintain your car. You make sure that it's safe, and then that all the occupants are safe. And it's the same thing with.
You don't store a hot gun in a Paw Patrol backpack.
Exactly. If somebody had said to me, "Okay, let's say you got to have a gun in a Paw Patrol backpack. Could you make it safe?" I would say yes. What you would do is, one, you would separate the magazine from the gun. You would make sure that there is no round in it. And if you want to be completely 100% positive that that gun couldn't be used in an accidental or intentional way, you put a trigger lock on it. And that's it's a cable that goes through the trigger guard of the gun, and then there's a key that actually locks that cable in there, so the trigger itself can't be depressed far enough to actually pull and fire around. So
I have to also say, as a gun owner myself, as your kids age, when my kids were newborn, 1, 2, exploring, we had tighter, that sounds bad, but there's different precautions. Once they're older, 8, 9, 10, you've had those responsible conversations with them. Like, my son is very well educated on gun safety and what they use and when you use it and who teaches you. And I mean, extensive, but then your protocol around the house kind of may change. But when you have a 1 and a 2-year-old,
yes,
that just, I'm confused. Yeah.
So in our house, because we had little rugrats and, our kids are younger, and even if they're older, this is just what I've decided. So we have gun boxes. They're literally made by, they used to be, the brand was Gun Box. I think it's Koenig now, Konig, but they have biometric boxes, and they're just they're attractive. They're little black, sleek looking boxes. And we have a couple, and our valuables are in them. So I might have a couple extra credit cards in one with some cash and my ring to let me into the secret combination booth down at the local, jihadi temple. I made that up.
I thought you were going to say like a secret society, but you're...
a cult. Oh wait. But anyway, so biometrics, right? So they do make things so that that's readily accessible. If I put my fingerprint on it, also it's got a keypad on it. So, I can type really quick, even in the dark. I know what I'm doing. And then I've got access to something that my kids wouldn't. Another
fear is not just your kids, but I think about the cousins that come over.
Yes.
The neighbor kids that come over.
Yes.
I haven't educated those kids. I don't know what their background is.
Right.
You have to be in the most cautious way possible.
Yep.
Anyway, Go ahead. Sorry.
No, and it's extensive too. And I think about that too. There was a time where I kind of had to run through that scenario in my head. I'm like, okay, Sam's bringing a lot of skate park kids over. How's my house?
Yeah, I don't leave my drugs laying around.
Yeah. A lot of these safes or the gun boxes, they've got a little connection on the back of it so that you can connect a leash to it, so you could bolt it to your nightstand, and so somebody can't just come pick up your safe or your gun box. So there's a lot of safety measures. Some people might argue just don't have guns, and that's your prerogative. Okay, so here's how things went. Initially, one of the coworkers who was on the Zoom call with Shamaya Lynn reportedly told a 911 dispatcher, as we heard, "I don't know where to begin, but I'm on a live call with a company. We just got hired, and one of the girls just passed out. She's bleeding. We heard a loud kaboom, and then she leaned back, and we just got blood from her face." An observation about the toddler, a coworker described seeing Shamaya's toddler in the background of the video, noting, "She's just jumping on the bed. They're just jumping on the bed without a shirt on, and looked like he was wearing only a diaper." Coworkers explained that a man, later identified as Viandre Avery, entered the view of the computer screen about 3 to 5 minutes after they heard the loud noise and lost contact with Shemaiah. Now, going back to how we started this episode, I think it's important as its journalistic integrity to ask, is there a we need to just rule this out. Is there a possibility that this baby was a possible hitman? And I can tell you unequivocally no. Okay, if you're wondering that, the answer is no. Okay?
I'm glad we cleared that up.
Yeah, Jess's face just said to me that was tasteless. So that was producer Jess using her face to express what she now can express on the microphone, but still sometimes chooses to use her face instead of the mic. So for that, I apologize, Jess. But we can rule him out. He's not a hitman. Viandre Avery, the investigation unfolded, revealing kind of the bitter truth that a loaded handgun in a Paw Patrol backpack, child's innocent curiosity, turned into a lethal situation. Avery obviously was instantly confronted by a grave error that he made in firearm safety, and he faced the full weight of the law in this case. He was charged with negligent manslaughter and failure to store a firearm. He was enveloped in a legal nightmare, his life shackled to the consequences of this moment of oversight, and a sentence of 5 years probation and a driver's license suspension was to be his charge. And so that's hung over his head now because, of just a little, not securing it well enough. I mean,
that's just completely irresponsible.
So a question to ask then, and this is another one, maybe not as burning of a question as the baby hitman question, but I do feel it's salient.
Oh, good.
Was it a registered firearm? So here's the thing with the charges that they were leaning toward manslaughter and that there wasn't any mention of the firearm's registered status. Because there isn't any confirmation of it in any of the proceedings or anything like that. There wasn't one. But it makes me believe that the firearm was most likely registered to him legally.
Yeah.
Because in many cases, the use of an illegal firearm would have bolted on additional either aggravated or elements to the charge. If they were at all at the disposal of the prosecution, it would have been leveraged. So,
yeah.
Okay. So the aftermath, I mean, as you can imagine, was tragic. You've got Shemaiah's 2 children, Viandre Jr. and Royale or Royale. There's a little umlaut over the E on the end. There's an E on the end of Royal to begin with. So it's either Royale or Royale. I'm not sure. Ages 1 and 2. Now in the care of family. Alicia Davis, Shemaiah's mother, became a vessel of strength. Her words were a poignant reminder of the void that Shemaiah left. She set up a GoFundMe to help basically just cover, the basics that she needed to just get going with, supporting the kids. And, she was blessed to generate through the benevolence of others a couple $1,000s towards their maintenance, I guess. So it's a grim reminder that you can't be flippant with your firearms and 2-year-olds.
Yeah.
Oh, how about a happy ending?
That would be great.
Yeah, especially after that. So we need to walk it off. All right. Well, this one is, I didn't even know this was a thing, to be honest,
okay. But that could be a lot of things.
I know a lot of things, but this one I didn't know, but apparently it's pretty common that what we're about to talk about. But a man called 911 because he says his wife was, get this, sexually assaulted by a chef squirting water from a doll at a hibachi restaurant. Now, I got more detail on this, but
Are you sure this is a happy ending?
yeah, it's. I shouldn't be laughing because he says sexually assaulted, and what is this saying? Trust first or believe him.
Go ahead.
Okay. So maybe allegedly, I'll say that, allegedly sexually assaulted. This is all happening in the moment too. So he is announcing her sexual assault on the 911, and they're in the hibachi restaurant still. So
Okay.
this is all going down in real time. Are you ready? Ready to hear this one?
I'm ready.
Okay. Here we go.
Hey, what's going on? Here's my situation. I'm at the Wasa-Pee Japanese Steakhouse off of 78A in Murfreesboro. Okay. The chef here that was doing our meal, at the end of the meal, pulled out this little freaking doll with its pants down, and he shot water on my wife out of it. That is a sexual assault against my wife. And totally disrespectful. I mean, okay, I want this chef arrested for sexual assault.
Tell me again what happened, sir?
I'm not from Tennessee, so I don't know Tennessee laws. But in Texas, that is sexual assault.
All right, start from the beginning, sir. Tell me what happened.
Okay, at the end of the meal, the chef pulled out this 6 or 7 inch tall doll. Had his pants pulled down, and it shot water on my wife out of it.
Okay, so the chef had his pants down, or
yeah, the chef that was cooking our meal did that at the end of the meal.
Yes, sir.
Now,
So
I don't know about the law.
He took the doll out of his.
That is considered sexual assault. He pulled the doll out in front of me, my wife, and my 2 of my kids, and 2 of my grandkids.
Okay.
And shot water on my wife out of his.
Okay.
Now, in Texas, that is sexual assault.
Okay.
I don't know
What's your name, sir?
James Lassiter, Lassiter. I want to press charges. I want this guy arrested for sexual assault.
And what's the phone number for you, Mr. Lassiter?
My number is.
Okay. Are you still in the restaurant, or are you like out in your car, or where?
I'm outside at my car. I tried speaking to the management about it. They're not going to do anything about it.
Okay. What kind of car are you going to be waiting in?
I am it's a rental. It's a Chrysler Town and Country black.
A black Town and Country?
Yeah. Chrysler.
Okay.
I took my family over across the highway to the putt and game place, and I came back over here to talk to their management about it.
Okay, so you're in the parking lot of Wasa-Pee, right?
They don't care.
Okay.
Sorry?
You said you were in the parking lot of Wasa-Pee. Okay.
Wasa-Pee Japanese steak.
Okay. All right, I'll have an officer on the way over to talk to you. Okay, Mr. Lassiter?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay. So, like I said, I didn't know.
You've never been to hibachi?
I've been to hibachi, and I've had the whole volcano, and they're hucking shrimp.
The choo-choo train.
Yeah, they're throwing shrimp in people's mouths, and they're wizards with an egg. I know all, but I've never seen I can't wrap my head around why there would be a doll that has water in it and it's peeing out of its genitals. How that connects to the hibachi cooking. I don't.
Well, we obviously have a different experience in our area. Maybe it's a little more PG at your hibachi.
I thought they were all I didn't know why any of them have to be anything other than PG. That's what I didn't understand.
Maybe it's like a custom or something. I don't know, but it did happen to my son years ago. And every time we go now, he's 8 now. So yeah, every time we go, he's like, are they going to have the peeing bottle? Because some places have where it squirts water.
Yeah.
And I've been to places where it had this long tube that shot out of it.
Oh, out of the penis? Out of the doll's looks like pee.
Yeah. So it it rolled back up inside, and when the guy squeezed it, it like shot out like you were gonna get wet, but like a pretend,
like those ketchup and mustard bottles with the yarn in it.
I've also been to one that had just that too, a bottle that they made it seem like they were squirting sauce on, and they normally do it to the kids.
Okay,
I think because maybe they think it's funny.
I've seen videos, like viral videos of like the chef just like squirting water stream into like a lady's mouth. And then it gets all like erotic and she's like dancing while it's getting in. It's all over her chest. And her husband is like, okay, guy, that's enough. Okay, cool. But it must be a tradition. I'd be really interested. Maybe I should have done a little research on where this comes from, but it seems like
an element of the show. It's like
lack of research?
No. It's like one of the acts in the hibachi show type of thing.
I'd be interested in its origins. It feels like it's either its origins come from 1950s Americana, because that would make sense, or it's a Japanese thing, which also...
Or a pedophile.
Ooh, I need answers. But all right, so here's what the officer said. The officer actually wrote in his report, quote, "I observed the toy to have no penis and just a hole for the water to shoot out." The caller stated, quote, "Just because somebody cut off a piece of plastic, it doesn't mean that it's okay. This has to have, don't try this in 2024 because it is okay. Don't, you're going down the wrong road if you say that." He says, "Doesn't change the fact that you're getting peed on." So my question is this. Here's another question I have is, I can't see the chef going just randomly. He's like cooking rice and he's doing all the things, taka, 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 and doing the whole dance. Suddenly he just picks up a doll and randomly just squirts somebody in the face. They have to be interested in a willing participant, right?
Like I said, I think it's an act in the show, and probably I assume the chef like just kind of feels out what person's having the most fun, you know?
What person he feels out which person wants to get peed on?
This is the vibe, I guess. Well, like it's like when they do the shrimp, you know, they toss everyone shrimp, but then they always pick one person to do like the rapid fire.
Yeah. Yes.
Where they do like 10 shrimp back to back.
Right.
And the chef has to kind of feel out like, okay, what person do I think is down to do this?
This person has a shellfish allergy.
In my case, it was my 5-year-old kid.
So when your kid got peed on, I can't believe I just said that. And that we're not talking about a crime.
That's awful.
When your kid got peed on, was there preparation? Like, hey, kid, do you want to get peed on? And he's like, yes.
No, it was a joke. Like
what just happened kind of thing? Like, oh my gosh, I got water on me.
He just squirted me with something. Yeah. We didn't realize. I don't think he was, like I said, he was like 5 maybe. I don't think he realized until afterwards that it was a little man.
Little naked man.
And it came out of little... with his pants pulled down.
I didn't know that this was a thing, to the point where I did some research because, well, thanks to our researcher, Rachel Spillers, I have some more meat on the bone. Wrong terminology maybe. On this though, She sent me a link to a Walmart product that you can buy. It is this doll. It's the Wasa-Pee, the wee squirting boy for hibachi. It's not just like, it is specific, a peeing doll for hibachi. It says you can buy it at Walmart, $9.45. Here's the description. Fill up the base with water, then pull down the shorts and get ready for a steady stream of laughter. Each piece in colorful printed box. Here, this part made me laugh. Color may vary.
Oh my God.
Also, I mean, they didn't say that size may vary. They were very specific. You're looking at 7.5 inches. I think that's the doll height. I don't think that's the genitals size. It also, it got top reviews from customers. Here's one. Also really quick before the reviews. There's a choking hazard on the Facebook. Oh no, on the Walmart product.
Why?
Page, it says choking hazard. Notice for children under the age of 3. It contains one or more of the following items: marbles, small balls, or small parts. I was like, this, you can't make this up, but I wish they had, and it wasn't real, but it is. Got a 5-star review. Quote, my kids love it. It's so much fun. It shoots the pee pretty far. But not everybody's a fan. There was a 2-star review. So cute, but cheap. So cute, but cheap. Obviously, this is cheap, but I was really disappointed that the shorts cracked only after a month. 2 questions. How are you pulling down the shorts and they still crack? Like, what are the shorts made of? And 2, how many times are you having hibachi in a month if you're wearing out this doll, this peeing doll? 3, who's eating hibachi with you so much that you can keep using this as a gimmick and it's entertaining? Like, I have so many questions. Oh, boy.
It's clearly a thing.
I think I need to go back to hibachi and see if somebody pulls out their wiener doll and tries to pee on my wife. So circling back to the 911 call, it wasn't deemed as sexual assault. So, the chef wasn't arrested. Also, to my knowledge, there has not been an open dialogue that we've had to open up about, is this sexual harassment taking place? Nobody's doing a Dateline special on this right now. So it seems like we're all still cool with it. So that's the thing. But yeah, no, that guy was, I think, frustrated. I don't know. You don't hear on the 911 call from his wife. Was she frustrated or was she cool with it? Like, that's another part I'd like to see, like, because that either adds to his chauvinism that somebody else was peeing in his wife's mouth and damn it, I don't care if you liked it, Janice, I'm calling 911 because you don't do that in a marriage. Or was she like, oh my goodness, I'm disgusted, Randall, call 911. Like, I need more information.
Yeah.
But I don't have it. And so you don't have it. Oh, man.
Well, this has been weird.
It's been weird. It's been good from the standpoint that the 911 call and the happy ending this time I felt were some real gems. And we have to thank Rachel Spillers for this, our researcher. She's coming up with some gold lately in 911 calls, like the Ben's Wild Ride, the wheelchair guy.
It's great.
I mean, there's been some good stuff. So thanks, Rachel Spillers, for the research on this. Oh, what else can I tell you? Writing, script writing, and done by the operator and ChatGPT. The show crafting, the mastering, mastermind behind it. The operator. I'm trying to think who else is involved with this show. Hosts are the operator and Jess. Chase does some things on the show. It's all behind the scenes, so it's not really that big of a deal, but he just edits the whole entire show and makes it sound good. It's not that big of a deal, really. It's all behind the scenes, so you don't really hear. So I guess thanks to Chase as well. No, thank you, Chase. You
Are you done now?
I think I am. That's all I've got.
Okay.
So if you like us, 5-star review, 5 stars, and then give us whatever review you want. Find us on, if you like Patreon, you can go to patreon.com/1159media and support all of our creators there. Or you can go to 1159 Plus if you like having each show as a separate show in your own personal podcast app of choice. You can go to 1159plus.com and support us there as well. We really do appreciate it, and it helps us pay the bills and keeps me getting out of bed every day. And you keep food on Chase's table. So, hugs, everybody.
Bye.